because we don't know if Zoe's sick or not.
Oh, that's true. Well, she carefully coughed right in my face yesterday. This is our 6-year-old, so we should know pretty soon.
That's great. I'll do the show from over here. All right. Coming up this morning, some incredible stories.
Are you kidding? This year's worst Halloween costumes. What could be in more terrible taste than Anne Frank? Well, there are a few. You'd be surprised.
Are you kidding
Not
me?
joking.
Oh
And
my
it was
gosh.
selling really well, too.
More drugging in the sports world.
I know, and it's roughing, which is even worse. Oh. And, of course, the World Series last night,
Let's
was
talk about that for a
interesting.
second.
Okay.
I'm looking at the score, and I went to bed. I had to go to bed, and I was watching the Astros as they started kicking some butt, and I was like, still got to go to bed. The final score, and you probably already know this if you care, Astros 13, Dodgers 12. That's like a score for a bad basketball game. That's a huge amount.
No, that's like soccer.
That is, no. Soccer's like 1-0.
Oh, that's true.
Soccer's
That's
the
true.
only sport when they show the highlight reel, no one scores. They don't. It's all the near misses because there's only like 1 to 2.
So what's the season at right now? I mean, the series at right
I
now.
have no idea, but thanks for asking. I haven't been able to follow it because I'm sports. I kind of like drama. I don't really.
You had the sports channel on all yesterday. I mean,
Right.
for like literally 12 nauseating hours, and you can't tell me.
Ask me who played in the football games. Go ahead.
BYU.
No.
They
Ask me what
actually
I
won.
watched.
Oh, what did you watch?
Yesterday. Redskins, Cowboys. Don't know who won. Because in my house, there is no focus. There is children. BYU won.
See, that was good. It broke the losing streak.
Boom.
On the sad side, U of U just racked up their 4th loss. We had an unbeaten 4-0 record to start the season, and now we're 4-4.
And that wraps up Sports Corner with Todd and Erin.
That's
on the
pretty
morning
much all
stream.
we remember. So there
That's
you
it.
go.
That's the best we can do.
Yeah, it's good.
I should put this out there too. Wyoming, our neighbor to the north, has put out a deal saying, please don't shoot our traffic signs. And they're replacing some. They only can afford to replace 500. They figure there's 5,000 that have bullet holes through them. How
There's
else?
something troubling about entering a state, and it's like, welcome to is pretty much all shot out. It's like, that's...
Well, how
okay.
else are you going to sight in your rifle? Duh. And speaking of that, all right, let's do that. We'll do that in a second.
Okay, let's move on to Halloween costumes to
Okay.
avoid. Now, this totally cracks me up
Excuse
because sometimes I've come up with costume ideas in the past.
Excuse me again. I'm hicking up and
Picking upping.
yeah. Whew. Okay, go
Did you
ahead.
take some cold medicine this morning? or
No, but
something?
I shouldn't. Lean
No, I'm not
back.
sure you need it.
You're gonna get sick. Make me sick.
All right, inappropriate Halloween costumes. They came up with the top 8 that are the most awful.
Okay.
Number 1, Harvey Weinstein.
Hey, Erin,
Yes,
how about we hold that off until the bee break, okay?
we can do that.
That'd be awesome.
We can do that. Okay, so moving on then. The whole thing with the orange vests, I don't find this hugely reassuring, but as hikers and hunters are heading out on some of the same trails this fall, Utah wildlife officials have mentioned there have been several incidents, and because of those incidents, they would like to advise joggers and hikers to start wearing those bright, searingly eye orange vests, the safety vests that the hunters are supposed to wear.
Here's another
just to
quick
make sure
tip.
there's fewer incidents.
Another quick tip: if you're jogging or walking, don't carry sticks, like a big piece of sticks on
That
your
might
back.
look like antlers.
Yeah, because you get that, and then you
yeah,
get that, and then you're on the hood of a truck. It's not good. My
That was not the most reassuring advisory I've ever
the
read.
dairy farm I lived on in Maine, the farmer with his dairy cows, which they love very much. They deal with every day, and they're
Very nice cows.
He took orange paint and wrote the word "cow" on both sides, which we were all trying to figure out. Is that a bad thing? Like, oh, just to show him, I'm going to shoot it. So the letters were this big, all across the side of both sides. Cow.
Well, I like to hike in the foothills a lot because the Bonneville Shoreline Trail, rings around the city and it's beautiful and literally, a quarter mile and you're out of the city and it's gorgeous. Except for there was one time that I came around a corner and two guys were sitting there with their rifles and they went whoa, and they pulled up their rifles real fast.
Yeah.
And fortunately hadn't shot, which I'm deeply relieved at. But they both like, we were really surprised to see you. And I went,
We were really going to shoot you.
I said, this is a jogging trail right here.
Right.
There's a lot of bikers and They went, oh yeah, that's what that one was. So that
Oh, I know what I'm going to do.
I might just live in the backyard for a couple days.
I'm going to stop at Home Depot on the way home, get some orange spray can. Just go, Erin. 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 Safety first. Safety first. You want to talk about the future?
I'd love to.
All right. So basically, here's some things that'll seem ridiculous that we won't put up with in the future.
Now, this is in our lifetime. This is what amazes me, and these are things that we consider primarily indispensable
Maybe
right now.
not mine, but everyone else's.
But we do. We consider most of these things indispensable.
Like a 13 or 14-hour flight anywhere.
Wow, that would make Australia a lot more fun.
I figure they can get to most places in the world in 60 minutes.
And this is Elon Musk, the guy who's head of Tesla, right?
Well, yeah, they will go up higher, they can go faster without the atmosphere, and then come down and land, and you get off, and there's really no time for peanuts. Or more than one drink.
Wow, that's so cool. That's amazing. What else?
Schools being used for one day. Schools just being used for schools. No, split session. They've done this.
Well, they've done this here. Yeah, they've had to.
Morning and afternoon, you can choose which one you want to go to. Or it's a lottery, I think, but you can choose morning, afternoon, and then using the school again at night for other classes and such.
Wow, that's amazing.
Because of, there's only so much real estate in the world. Why have a building that you only use, like, Rio Tinto Stadium?
That's true, though, because school districts just can't afford to keep building new schools, even if there were rooms. So,
paying for your own Wi-Fi.
Stopping at traffic lights. Read that one because I was interested about that.
The speed limits, roundabouts, gone.
Really?
Computers will be monitoring traffic, switching the lights, keeping people moving. You won't be driving anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But if you are, everything's going to be slicker than it was.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's good. Wi-Fi. This seems a little creepy to me. You won't be paying for your own. People will team up.
They're doing it's like a neighbor sharing program, from what I understand from the story, which I thought, well, all right.
Using mobile phones.
Really?
Yeah.
This one's cool.
Basically, you have like a button on or something goes around your like you already seen.
No, they're going to wet wire you. They actually will be using the brain in order to interpret signals. It's really amazing.
And wet wire, explain that.
Wet wiring?
Yeah.
Well, dry wires you put on headphones. Wet wiring is you're directly connected through the skin to your device.
So you should see where the fax comes out. Doing your tax returns. This is the scary one. They already know what you bought. They already know what the taxes were. They already know that you bought a car. They already know the payments you make on your house, if there still is a deduction for that.
They're just going to spit something out
and
and
all
send
it
it
is
to you?
push enter, and they'll give you a bill. Medical, human surgeons.
Robotics has taken over a lot of some of the, especially the joints and some of the finer detailed surgeries. It's already taken it over.
They also have some world-class surgeons sitting in an office working a scalpel that's hitched up to a computer in some other city. There you are laying on the table, and he is actually making the incision from where he is.
I want to be asleep if that happens.
Because
the last thing I want to see is a robotic arm coming towards my abdomen with a scalpel.
The way we're going to eat. And it says here that the treatment of animals, and we're going to be moving away and using other protein sources.
Yeah, they're saying eating meat will probably be extinct or eradicated by the time that we are dead.
So much for Arby's.
No, they'll just be using
I should say this.
It'll be like a meat-esque product.
Let me do Soylent Green.
It's people! I know. Sorry.
I should say this. My sister right now in Boston is in surgery for...
We love you, Jen.
We do. Well, she's out cold right now. But I know she'll probably come back.
Stephanie, tell Jen we love her.
And when she's recovering, and Mary Beth too, when she's recovering, she'll probably watch this show. And this is on demand, so it might be in a week from now. But I can just go, I told you it'd be okay. There you go. All right, we've got information time.
All right. First of all, we have to tell you about the value. This is really interesting. Here's how this works, and let me go with me for a minute because I know it's confusing. We're talking about real estate investment. Now, what we're talking about specifically is commercial real estate investment, and you're going, that's really, really sweet. Why would I care?
I'm bored.
Okay, here's why. Number one, Salt Lake City just made the top 3 for emerging trends in real estate. This is Price Waterhouse Coopers Urban Land Institute, and they do this every year. They show all of the investment strategy and where everybody's going, all the investment trends.
Commercial.
The reason why this matters for us,
Yes,
on a personal level, is because we are the least populated city that's ever been up there. Number one is Seattle, and then number two is Austin, Texas.
they're big.
Now, here's the deal. The reason why this impacts our home value is this is the indicator of where the city is going. And I've actually heard this. And what they're saying is Salt Lake City house prices are going to start becoming like San Francisco and Seattle.
It really shows a split level. I was thinking something a little more hip.
Oh, it's got a lot of nice little signs, though.
Maybe a postmodern. I don't know.
Well, the important thing is this,
Okay,
though,
sorry.
because when they're investing in commercial, that means they're expecting the explosion
Oh, I see.
throughout the city. And once that happens, that's when they start bringing in more workers, and that's when they start doing higher and higher prices for homes.
So this is
literally what they're saying is we're going to have the same kind of house prices you see in Seattle and down in San Francisco. Interesting, isn't
Yeah,
it?
if you own a house, that's a good thing.
Well, if you don't, maybe this is a really good time to buy before it gets even weirder.
Or move back into your mom's
Because
basement.
Todd and I just barely sold our house, and literally we hadn't even been thinking about it, but people said the market's insane. And we went,
Yo,
really?
that's a bad mistake.
Okay. And then we thought my brother-in-law, who is a real estate developer, I said, could you just find something for us? He goes, no problem. And then when we sold it, he went, there's nothing.
Nothing.
There's nothing.
Get a tough shed. Start a little tiny house thing.
No, but it's true. He told us just go rent for a year because house prices haven't settled down. But according to this report, they're not. So we could be renting for a while unless we get $1 trillion.
But that's a good thing. I mean, a good thing in the long run.
It's a very good thing. It is. We're the first one at this level of population who's ever broken into the top 10.
That's crazy.
Isn't that amazing? Now we can go to Daisy in the
Okay.
Gephardt Daily Newsroom. She is brought to you, of course, by UtahCreditApproval.com. Bad things happen to good people, but you can get your credit back on track and reliable automobile by calling 801-921-9819. Also by Columbus Travel. They have an incredible weekly newsletter. I was just taking a look at this, by the way. And they had airfare to like 5 major cities where you could get the airfare and the hotel stay for cheaper than you and I could find airfare on the internet. Also by allutahplumbing.com. This is the great time to make sure that you know where everything is working in your house, and All Utah Plumbing, Heating, and Air is there 24 hours a day if there's a problem. Daisy, my dear, what is going on today?
Thanks, Todd and Erin. Hello, everyone. Here's what's making headlines Monday, October 30th on GephartDaily.com. A 40-year-old Springville man is behind bars after leading cops on a wild high-speed chase Sunday. It started in Mapleton when police tried to stop Michael Rankin for driving with an expired registration. Rankin drove off and ultimately led police from 3 different agencies on a 120-mile-an-hour chase across Utah County. Police say Rankin swerved to hit police officers who were trying to stop him, prompting 2 of them to open fire. Rankin surrendered and was taken into custody. A female relative who was in the car with him was taken to the hospital to be treated for injuries sustained in the first officer-involved shooting. Her injuries were not believed to be life-threatening. Ogden police are investigating the death of a man killed in a fight Saturday night outside the large 24th Street Halloween party. Police say the fight started with a verbal exchange between people walking to the party and people inside a passing car. The car returned a short while later and a fight broke out. Police say the driver of the car was beaten with what appeared to be a baseball bat, and he died later at a local hospital. The victim's name has yet to be released. An autopsy is scheduled for Monday. And fire investigators are trying to determine the cause of an early morning blaze that forced 4 people and 2 pets from their home near 1400 South and 1400 East. SLC firefighters were called to the scene just after 1 a.m. Monday. When they arrived, they saw smoke and flames pouring from the back of the home. Firefighters knocked down the fire in about 20 minutes, and there were no reports of injuries. Time now for your Wasatch Front weather, brought to you today by our lovely and brilliant new sponsors at Brio Technologies, Utah's leading audiovisual experts. High temperatures Monday and Tuesday will be in the upper 50s, with a bit of a jump Wednesday to near 70 degrees. Nighttime lows will be in the upper 30s to low 40s. Chance of rain all 3 days is 0, 0, nada. In other words, it's going to be kind of dry. That's all for now. For more local headlines 24/7, go to GephartDaily.com. And for now, Todd and Erin, back to you.
Welcome back, everyone. It's the Todd and Erin morning stream on GepHeartDaily.com. All right, so...
Well, there's a certain amount of gravitas to how you said that.
No, I'm just asleep. Just still asleep.
Okay, that's good too. All right, we were talking about Halloween costumes.
Yes.
Perhaps one's in really bad taste for this year, but they're still going off the shelves like crazy. So
Right.
there you go. Number 1, Harvey Weinstein. Of course, this is the sleazebag director who's been disgraced in Hollywood because all of the sexual abuse and assault allegations have come out. He's currently undergoing sex therapy in Europe. I hope that helps so much, Harvey. Really. So they say that
That's a horrible costume.
traditionally they say that the costumes are a bathrobe and a mask, a hotel bathrobe, because he always used to, Number 2 is Hugh Hefner. He's dead.
He's a
and
stiff.
Everyone thought it was a good time to start dressing up like him.
Pajamas and a smoking jacket.
This one is so appalling to me that I'm like still gasping. Anne Frank.
No.
There is a costume depicting Anne Frank, the young Holocaust victim. Following widespread criticism, they did offer to sell less of them or in halt production of more, but they're still selling what they have in stock. The Sexy 11 from Stranger Things. Now, Stranger Things is fantastic. I love this show, and we're talking about it a little bit later because one of the stars was here in Utah.
Wait, the who?
But 11's 70s party dress was a popular costume last year, but they've expressed outrage over a sexy costume for 11 because she's played by Millie Bobby Brown, and her character is meant to be aged 13 in Series 2.
Oh, boy. Not
13 is not sexy. Let's go with that. Meliana Trump. Sexy Meliana Halloween outfit has been panned as sexist and inappropriate. And you can't help but agree with that because it's like, it's the First Lady.
good. Right.
You don't make the First Lady look like a hoochie mama.
Unless you're a guy wearing it.
Okay, that would be all right. Donald Trump, it wasn't cool last year they say, but this year it's even less acceptable. They're doing tombstones with Donald Trump on them. That's not appropriate.
That's not appropriate
That's
either.
not appropriate. No.
Get off my lawn.
Ku Klux Klan.
Shut up.
Ku Klux Klan.
Shut
Such costumes
up.
have been around for years, and we all know that. And eventually you see a picture of like a politician wearing one, and then he's in trouble. But it's back in the news after
Are
the
you
white
kidding
supremacist
me?
rally, and they are actually selling the pointed
Carrying
hoods.
little tiki torches.
They're selling the
That
pointed
is
hoods.
pathetic.
Moana. Now, Moana, Zoe actually asked me about this, and I said no, and here's why. Moana is cultural. It's cultural appropriation. This was a beautiful Disney movie that
It
they
was.
actually went to an enormous amount of work
Yes.
to represent the Pacific Islanders in a respectful and, most importantly, a realistic manner, especially in regards to their culture and their history.
As far as a cartoon goes, right?
Well, and I talked to a couple of Pacific Islanders I know and said, "Did you feel like it?" And they said, "Yeah." They said, "What we don't like are the costumes because having a bunch of white kids running around dressed as it's cultural appropriation. They are saying it's not in good taste."
Okay.
So it doesn't matter. I know we'll still have a bunch of Moanas showing up, but you know
Sure.
what? As long as you're not a tombstone labeled Donald Trump, I can live with it. Really. So there you go. You thought people had really bad senses of humor. It was even worse than you thought,
Now,
didn't
you mentioned Stranger Things.
Yes, and I love this. I don't know if you've been on Twitter recently, but they have this great tweet meme going on right now with one of the key characters. And if you've never seen this kid before,
he's funny.
it's Gaten Mazzararo. He plays Dustin with
Right.
the crazy gigantic hair, and he's a really funny kid. The reason why this is touching, and it really is a great series, it's worth watching. The reason why this is cool is he was in Mapleton, Utah at a dinner party, recognizable face. He has a rare genetic disorder called CCD. Now, he said in the first episode I mention it, and he says Dustin, the character, actually has the condition, so they wrote him into the show and made him kind of like me in that sense, which is really cool.
Right.
Now, it's a 1 in a million odds to be born with this genetic condition, but it primarily affects the bones and teeth. It's not an easy one. It's going to be rough. But in Utah, there were 9 other people just like Dustin Gaten, rather, so they all came together to share dinner and share support.
Oh.
And they said, would you be willing to come here and show these kids some support and let them know that, life
Right,
goes on and
right,
it's going
right.
to be okay? And this kid is epic. I mean, he's so cool. And he said, so everyone in Utah with CCD is here at this table.
Yeah,
This
pretty
is
much.
going to be great.
That's really...
And he said, you know what, look, going to school, I was teased. He said, I never had a full set of teeth as a child.
Because of the way
Because
the
of the
bones
dental
form,
issues,
right?
yeah. And so this is really, really cool. And so Gaten said that he would come if they could raise money for dental surgery for people with this condition, because
There
that's
you
one
go.
of the premier things. And so they did a boatload of money, I guess, for the first fundraising dinner.
And a lot of these kids, they had teeth when they were smaller, but they outgrew the dentures and stuff, and so they didn't have the money at that point, and the insurance wasn't there.
Oh yeah, dental's ridiculously expensive, and it's not something that they consider it cosmetic. Really?
All right.
A full set of teeth is cosmetic. Well, but I'm a kid. No, we don't care.
Not
So
sure.
it's a good thing.
Not sure I want to talk about this, but you know what I want to talk about?
Yes.
Mojitos
Oh, I think we should.
on the beach.
Oh, okay. Yeah. As a matter of fact, this would be Columbus Travel, and
This guy's alone. He needs a partner.
that's
And
really
you could go to the
sad.
beach. You can go to the beach if you give him a call, and you can get a great deal.
Well, you know, if you go online to columbusvacations.com, you can sign up for the newsletter there, which is pretty amazing. And here's why. They do these really cool deals every now and then, well, actually every week, where if you're going online and you're trying to find like airfare somewhere and you find a price, if you go back to them, they can get you airfare and a hotel stay for less. And it's amazing. So go on the internet, and if it's something just simple, sure, do it yourself. But for anything else, these guys are so good at this. And there was actually a survey which showed that if you're doing something bigger, like a cruise or a full vacation, you can save up to $241 by going through a travel agent like Columbus Travel.
All right, so tell me something good. Would you please tell me something good?
Oh, it would be my pleasure.
All right. Tell me something good.
All right. I've heard of these before, and they make me so happy, but I don't know if I've ever seen one caught on camera, which
What?
is why this is cool to me.
What's that?
Anna Melissa Oliveras posted this on her Facebook page, and she said, this was just so cool, I had to say something. She was standing in line behind a man who was trying to pay for his cart full of groceries with a gift card.
Mm-hmm.
And it was obvious the guy was kind of trying to stock up because he had had a fairly substantial gift card, I guess.
Right.
After swiping the card several times, though, it was rejected, and they looked it up, and they said, whoever gave this to you, it was not full price, which was $100. It had a balance of like $2.89. Which is just, it's almost cruel.
I hate that when I'm buying things that not important.
And
but he's
this-
buying food.
And this was like, you know, and his face was just speechless and humiliated. And they said, do you have another card or anything? He's like, no, I don't. This woman just stepped out from the line and says, oh, I'll be happy to pay for it. That's fine. And the coolest thing is that she said, oh, I don't want any help. And look, there he's giving her a huge hug.
Oh, nice.
She whipped out a credit card, took care of it. And she said, hey, we've got to help each other out. That's okay. And the sweet thing is that she didn't want to give her name, but after the picture was posted to social media, someone said, I know her. That's Annette Morrison. She's my surgical director. She's truly an angel. So, Annette, you totally rule.
Nice
and to
job.
Melissa, thank you so much for being able to get a shot of this, because it reinforces all of our visions. I think if you see something like that and you visualize it, you're more likely to go through it and want to do that yourself.
Well, it's like being in line and paying for your coffee or whatever, and then paying for the person behind you and praying that they're not buying food for the entire office and they're ordering lobster. Just kind of hoping that way.
Okay, all right. Coming up next, your Christmas tree is going to be super duper expensive. We'll tell you about it, but don't forget about the Christopher giveaway. Christopher's
Right.
giveaway. This is basically our chance to say thank you to you, where we send you and 3 friends down to Christopher's. You have an amazing meal, and it's because we love you. So all you have to do to enter is just make a comment at one of our Facebook pages while you're watching this. It could be on the Gephardt Daily Facebook page, Gephardt Approved, or right now on the Todd and Erin page where most of you are watching. So we love you. Thank you very much. What?
Oh, our show is just crazy.
We're a little loose. We're a
All
little
right, so
loose. We're
coming
sorry.
up, what we're going to do is we're going to tell you about, and I don't want to talk about Christmas, but I am about your Christmas tree, and that's coming up next.
The Todd and Erin Morning Stream is brought to you by Utah Credit Approval. Bad things happen to good people, but repair your credit and find the car you want at Utah Credit Approval. Just call 801-404-7201. Also by Columbus Travel. Sign up for their weekly newsletter today for some screamingly good last-minute travel deals. You can do that at columbusvacations.com. And also by All Utah Plumbing, Heating, and Air. This is the perfect time to check out your heating system and make sure that you're ready for the cold winter months ahead. Go to allutahplumbing.com, and don't forget 24-hour service.
So Jeff, you do mortgages, right?
I do.
How do you do?
Well, you go to our website, 4minutemortgage.com, fill out the application. We'll call you within 1 business day. The whole thing takes about a month, start to finish.
We went to the bank
They got really personal.
and went through all of our personal records and all of our finances.
And then there was that little deal about the $8,000 closing costs.
It took like 4 months.
That's funny. That's funny.
All All right, thank you very much. Welcome back. I agree with Sean on Facebook this morning. That makes me want to pee as well. All right, so this is against my better judgment, but I'm going to do it anyway. Christmas trees. There, I mentioned Christmas. It's not Thanksgiving. It's not even Halloween yet, but I'm going to do it. This one comes from Salem, Oregon. Your trees are going to be more expensive this year. What?
We use a fake tree now, so it's all right. But tell me more.
What about them?
No, I've always thought, I can't believe that we use fake trees. I thought that was like anarchy.
For me?
That was like Christmas anarchy.
From
but,
Maine, yeah.
But now, however, most people who are decent and God-fearing folk want a live Christmas tree. So what are you going to tell them?
Well, first of all, it's renewable. It takes 7 to 9 years to grow a 6-foot tree. And this year, it's going to cost you more by about $6. Like $75 a piece is what they're thinking.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a good-looking tree, though. The Charlie Brown trees are still, like, fairly inexpensive. So the deal is, you plant the field, and I used to maintain Christmas trees, and I used to go out on the lots, and the farmers, hired us, and we'd keep the woods from getting back into the field, so we would do that. But in 2000, they planted too many trees. Then the recession hit. People didn't buy them.
And so they said, forget it, we're not going to buy any, we're not going to plant anymore.
And a lot of people just said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use a fake tree. And that's what they've been doing. I can't believe you got me to get a fake tree.
Why
How
are you
did that
saying
happen?
that? Why are you saying that to me? I'm the one who's always insisted on a live tree.
No.
Until like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, prepare yourself.
We're sorry, $75 Christmas tree. Sorry.
Bad neighbors.
Oh no, this is like the neighbor from hell. I mean, think about this. When you do have a problem with a neighbor, we've in the past we've had a couple. We all talked about it. The street was really good. We were all close to each other, so it was a pretty easy thing to do.
We teamed up on them.
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone kind of discussed stuff.
Right.
But when you've got a drug house in your neighborhood, that's kind of a different matter, because it's not like you can go over with a loaf of banana bread and go, let's sit down and talk about the fact that you have visitors at all time of the day and night, and they've been breaking into my house and stealing things so that they can buy more of your drugs. That does not work as an approach.
So what do you do?
Well, that's the problem they're having. Laxon Court in Salt Lake City. One person actually said that she tried to talk to the neighbor about it, and so he put a board through her windshield, I guess, to indicate his displeasure with her attempts.
Right.
Yeah.
I would take this as a challenge myself.
That is a little scary, though, because the policemen, they've been trying to call the police on a fairly regular basis when people trespass. And so, unfortunately, this house owner said, if you call the cops on me again, you're not going to live to regret it. That seems like a problem.
So?
Well, so what they were trying to do is they finally went to the city and said, why aren't you doing anything? And they said, well, the house code people are working with him because he has a lot of debris in the yard.
Yeah.
And it's condemned, even though he's still living there. Yeah. So we've been trying to help him clean up the debris. It's like, well, no, let's go back to the concept of
drugs.
It's a drug house. And a lot of the neighbors, what they're worried about right now is that there have been some random fires, and the way he's been cleaning up, apparently, is getting shopping carts, putting debris in them, and then dumping them in their front yard.
There you go.
So that's literally, but it's not.
So
there's no solution here yet. I guess that's the point of what they're saying.
Sure, there is.
What they're saying is you're going after him for a building code, and we're saying there's a drug problem.
Remember that other lady? She set up surveillance. And she put up signs saying, hey, while you're buying your drugs, don't forget I'm taking down your license plate numbers and stuff like that. And remember, and she just kept hounding them. And then there was the police kind of, okay, we're going to, all right.
We'll do something.
Yeah. There was a guy back when a long time ago, and he was a pervert. And he used to look at the kids and stuff in the neighborhood.
He was actually a registered sex offender.
I don't know what he was. He was a creep. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how it happened, but people kept throwing rocks at his plate glass window. A lot. And then someone took a crowbar and kept putting it through his radiator of his car.
I believe that's called vigilanteism.
I don't know who did it, but it seems wrong.
And I don't think it's legal.
No, it's highly illegal. You can't break property like that, even if he is a lech. So anyway, and they're really sure he was. Okay, so there you go. That's how you get rid of them. Oh, it's mating season.
Moving on.
It's mating season.
It is.
It is. The moose.
And all the animals are looking for some sweet, sweet loving before winter hits.
And here's one who found it. Take a look. It's beautiful, beautiful. Oh, do we have a picture?
Oh, we don't.
Okay,
That's right.
So a lady had a Prius, and she came home driving her other car, and there it was. There was a moose humping it.
Now, here's the problem. I'm thinking if a moose takes a liking to your car and it's a little one like the Prius,
Yeah.
there's not a lot you can do about it.
It's a raging hormone thing, and they're out going, look how tough I am. I'm a big male bull moose, and I'm going to...
And there's not a lot you can really do to distract them until they feel like they're ready to move on.
I think that's kind of a wussy moose, though. Because why did he go after, like, a pickup truck or something? Instead, he went after a little... It's like one of the smart cars. Why? Because you could push it around a smart... Oh, I get it. He wasn't fighting it, was he? The damage was $5,600. They might total it.
I would, if it were my car, I would just ask them to do that.
Can't get that out of your mind, can
Not
you?
ever in the rest of my life, no.
Yeah.
I could never once again open that door.
Or touch it.
There's some things that you just can't wipe out of your memory.
Yeah, that's
Or off the
probably
upholstery.
true. Coming up, we people are going to burn in hell. And
People who are going to hell.
This is probably one of the most significant people who are going to hell stories that we've done in a long time.
And once again, these are people that are so outrageously awful. Like last week, the woman who stole a child's leg braces and tried to pawn them. These are people who are really. There's no redemption here. Okay, they've got the corner suite upside down in the vat of boiling tar.
All right, it's coming up next.
The Todd and Erin Morning Stream is brought to you by Fink & McGregor. Did you know that you can qualify for a mortgage with a credit score as low as 600? Just go to fink-mcgregor.com for more information. It's mortgages made simple. Also by the Vein Clinic. There's several excellent varicose vein removal procedures, but you need to find the right one for you. You can do that by scheduling an appointment at theveinclinic.com. And also by Black Diamond Heating, Electric, Plumbing, and Air. Black Diamond Experts, they also have a brand new office open in Ogden. You'll be glad you called an expert. BlackDiamondExpert.com.
Apply today
and drive away.
And then we kiss, and then we leave, and here we are. Welcome back to the Todd and Erin Morning Stream. People are going to hell. I don't usually get to do these.
I know. Well, you found this one, and it was so outrageous, I can't help but feel that it's your right.
All right. Food bank. I want you to think about a food bank.
Okay.
All right. And it's called Kid Care International. And they have a pantry, a food pantry.
For kids.
Yeah.
So in other words, children, because food insecurity here in the state of Utah, for instance, is 1 out of 5 children, meaning 1 out of 5 children is in danger of going to bed hungry.
This is in Montclair. This is something.
This I know, but what I'm saying is this is a big freaking deal. This is feeding children.
Now the pantry, they figure out that they do so much work with the community, and the holiday seasons, they're already prepping for it. Their freezers are stocking up, and they're going to make sure the canned goods and all that stuff, and just keep building it because here it comes, right? Yeah. Well, they got busted into.
You're kidding me.
No. And you know they took the food? $20,000 worth.
They stole $20,000 worth of food?
Office equipment, and then they weren't happy with that. So they left the freezer open, so all the food in the freezer went bad over the weekend. What they didn't steal, they trashed.
That's so beyond the final step of awful that I'm not sure what the leap is from there to truly horrific. I mean, that's about it.
They help 1,200 to 2,000 families a week.
And they were doing food baskets filled with toys and food for Thanksgiving and for Christmas.
Not anymore. They took it. So people in the community are actually stepping up and trying to help them, but people going down.
You even left the freezer open so the rest would be ruined?
Yeah,
Why would you do that?
Well, it's my, my
People
answer.
are going to hell.
My answer is to that.
What is that?
People don't care who they steal from. They don't. They don't care if it's an old lady that push her down, take her cane. They don't care. They
How
just
can you
don't
not
care.
care? How
they
were
have
you
no
raised?
empathy whatsoever.
How were you raised that you wouldn't care? All right.
Yeah.
Well, they may be going to hell, but there's a lot of really nice people, and that's why we'll remember that.
Okay.
There's my uplifting finish to that
Nice
story.
job.
Let's move on to Daisy in the Gephardt Daily Newsroom. She is brought to you by Fink & McGregor Mortgages Made Simple. If you go to fink-mcgregor.com, by the way, you can do like a 4-minute quiz, and at the end, they have all these options for mortgages, and someone can call you back within the next business day. Also by The Vein Clinic, theveinclinic.com. Go and take a look at some of their different options for removing varicose veins and spider veins. As a matter of fact, I am going in tomorrow. I can hardly wait. And to liberate a man, you can rid yourself of adult addiction at any time by going to liberateaman.com. Find out more information. And also by Black Diamond Electric Plumbing, Heating, and Air. You'll be glad you called an expert, and they have a brand new office in Ogden. blackdiamondexpert.com. Daisy, my dear, what's going on today?
Good morning, Todd and Erin. Hello again, everyone. Here's a look at national and world news for Monday, October 30th on GepHardtDaily.com. People in the Trump administration are on pins and needles as we wait to see the first arrest in Robert Mueller's Russiagate investigation. Word came down Friday that a federal grand jury in Washington had handed down indictments and that suspects in the case could be arrested as early as today. Team Trump is downplaying the news, saying federal prosecutors should be investigating Hillary Clinton's lost emails. 2 members of the Navy's elite SEAL Team 6 are under suspicion in the strangling death of an Army Green Beret stationed in Mali. The 2 Navy SEALs and their role in the Green Beret's death are being probed by officials with the Naval Criminal Investigative Service, according to the New York Times. Staff Sergeant Logan J. Melgar, 34, was found dead in U.S. Embassy housing in Mali back in June. He was sharing quarters with members of several other Special Forces units at the time of his death. According to CBS News, the 2 SEALs under investigation were involved in an altercation with Melgar. Both were flown from Mali and placed on administrative leave while the Army investigates. And aviation experts now say a bird strike was likely responsible for the damage done to the nose cone of a chartered plane carrying the NBA's Oklahoma City Thunder Saturday. The plane was on the way from Minneapolis to Chicago when it hit something while on descent to Midway Airport. Team players shared photos of the damaged plane on social media. Most seemed perplexed by what could have caused such a dent. In a Snapchat post, Patrick Patterson suggested Superman was the culprit. That's it for now. For more headlines from across the country and around the world, go to GepHardtDaily.com. And for now, Todd and Erin, back to you.
Thank you, Daisy.
I can't get over that plane getting a bird strike and crushing the whole nose.
How big was that bird?
I don't know. Look at that.
Were you telling me, though, that's where the radar is?
Yeah, usually in the cones and fighter planes it is anyway.
So that's how
I
you would, like,
imagine there's
navigate.
like a turning disc in there or something.
Wow.
I think. That is just...
That was like the whale of birds. That's
It's
amazing.
like someone shot a cannonball at it.
Right?
Well,
Jeez
better
Louise.
there than in the engine.
I guess so. All right, moving on. Black Diamond Experts. I mentioned earlier they've got a new place in Ogden, which has been really cool because I had a couple of people from the Riverdale area who gave them a call saying, could you please come help me figure this out? And this is one of the things I like about them. Their people are licensed, bonded, and insured. So when they come to your house, they know what they're doing. You feel safe having them there, and they're really good about explaining stuff. I've told you the story about a newly single mom who was trying to figure out all of her systems, and the guy took all this time going, this is how you do it. Just remember to change this filter. He even wrote stuff down for her. And they're really good about that. They want to help you maintain stuff so that it doesn't get to the point where something's breaking on Christmas morning and you're calling, sobbing your eyes out. So although they do the emergency calls too, and yes, they've all done something on some major holiday, usually at 4 in the morning. So these are the guys you can call. And so it's that little list of experts that you keep in your inside your cabinet door. Make sure you write them down. It's 801-207-7976. It's blackdiamondexpert.com.
Or you could put it in your phone.
Your pumpkin pie is a lie.
Get out of here.
It's a lie.
No, it's
And you
not.
like pumpkin pie.
I love pumpkin pie.
This is very
Why
funny.
is it a lie?
Well, Serious Eats senior editor Stella Parks started talking about some of the all-American desserts and how they became popular and where they came from.
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin is not actually a pumpkin. pumpkin pie is actually not made from pumpkin.
Get out of here, you communist.
No, it's true. They say, like, okay, if you're getting like the 100% pie filling things and you make your own, or maybe you buy the pies from somewhere else, 90% of the time you're not actually getting pumpkin. What you're actually getting, they said pumpkin's not really good for pie. She says everyone knows this, and back in the day, everyone enjoyed squash a lot more, like a butternut squash or a winter squash. So there was
It's a squashkin pump?
yeah, so there was a guy who snapped up a packing plant, got a monopoly on all the farmers in a specific area of America, which is now known as Libby's pumpkin. The Libby's people.
Those
Which is actually,
communists.
she says, actually, though, it's they're now.
Mostly squash.
Yes, and it's funny because someone said, well, but no, there's a can that says 100% pumpkin. And she said, yeah, there's no rules exactly about what pumpkin is. So they can say 100% pumpkin, and
So-
it doesn't matter because there's no rule stating you actually have to say what a pumpkin is. So they can use squash and go, it's,
Squash pie. Squashkin pie.
yeah.
That's not
Your
fair.
pumpkin pie is lie.
It's not fair.
Sorry.
And then you put fake whipped cream on top, and what the hell do you have?
Well,
Anarchy.
After that story last week about the clear pumpkin pie, I'm just turned off the whole concept this year.
It used to be that you buy a pumpkin and you would cook it,
That's what my mom does.
and then you take it, you scrape it out, and then you add the seasoning and the sugar and the milk and the butter, and then you put it in a pie thing and you make it, and it's pumpkin. I think it tastes like pumpkin.
You're the only one who does that. Everyone else has just accepted they're eating squash.
End of days, that's what I'm thinking.
Your pumpkin pie is a lie.
End of days. You know, we always get this. We always hear about this. But we're going to tell you how to survive in Australia and not die right away. But coming up next,
That's inspiring.
yes, that's coming up. And coming up next, also Senator Hatch. Staying or going, we'll tell you next.
The Todd and Erin Morning Stream is brought to you by Fink and McGregor. Go to fink-mcgregor.com for mortgages made simple. Because they're a broker, they have a number of different options they can offer you. Just go through a 4-minute questionnaire and someone will call you back by the next business day and get you on your way. It's fink-mcgregor.com. Also by Utah Credit Approval. Utah Credit Approval knows that there's sometimes the bad things happen to good people and that credit may be hard to repair. But you can apply today and drive away today with Utah Credit Approval. Just call 801-404-7201. And also by All Utah Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Go to allutahplumbing.com to schedule a check to make sure that you're ready for winter. And don't forget they have 24-hour emergency service at allutahplumbing.com.
Utah Credit Approval is now Utah's Better Business Bureau #1 rated subprime company. That's why they approve more people than anyone, with better vehicles and lower interest rates, even 0 down payment. Just listen to one of their satisfied customers.
We recently went through a bankruptcy process looking to purchase new vehicles. We found Utah Credit Approval, went there, they treated us amazingly. If you don't want to go to another dealership and deal with all the BS in the sales manager office, go to these guys, you will not be sorry.
Utah Credit Approval, Gephardt approved, and Utah's Better Business Bureau #1 rated subprime company. Apply today and drive away. It takes 5 minutes or less to get approved. Plus, they'll throw in a $500 cash card with your new car. Visit utahcreditapproval.com or call 801-921-9819. That's 801-921-9819. Go to utahcreditapproval.com now.
Welcome back to the Todd and Erin Morning Stream here on GephartDaily.com. What are you doing?
Apologizing.
What are you?
The viewership.
All of you?
If you had any idea how off the rails the show's been today, and the
I'm so
craziness
sorry,
behind
Brandon.
the scenes, if it wasn't live, we just start over again.
We're so sorry, Brandon. We started really shaky in the back, and then we just decided to exacerbate it here in the front, and
just
it's just
down the tubes.
So basically, Daisy is the only appealing thing about the show
Daisy
today.
is
Daisy's pretty much it.
She's it. She's the focus. She's the quality professional.
That's pretty much Daisy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about
So
it.
anyway, That's all we want to say. All right, so
All
what do
right,
we got?
moving on. Senator Hatch.
Is he going?
He's the most irascible man I think I've ever talked to, and I adore him.
Irascible?
Irascible, cranky.
Oh, okay.
Because number one, he loves Todd. He hugs Todd and kisses him every time he sees him. With me, it's like,
That's 'cause
Erin, I'm going to take offense to what you just said, and I'm like, oh, Senator Hatch, what did I do now?
We're buddies.
It's true. He loves him, but I always get yelled at. But he's back to the "you can't tell me what to do" stage. Now, you know that he's the longest-serving Republican senator in history.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I mean,
he's on all the big committees, so he controls a lot of money, and he helps
got a lot of
Utah.
fingers in the pie.
And not pumpkin pie though.
Because there isn't any such thing.
So is he going or staying? What's he
Well,
doing?
No, this is funny. There was a big report that came out Friday that basically said Senator Hatch is retiring, and everybody reprinted it. All the
Right.
news outlets said, "Yep,
Right.
Senator Hatch is retiring," and
Right.
there's all talked about passing the crown over
Sure.
to Mitt Romney and
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty funny. So basically, he came out yesterday and said, "You can't tell me what to do.
Oh no.
I haven't said I'm retiring.
Oh, no.
You don't know anything about my plans.
Oh, my
I haven't said I'm doing anything. Here's what I think is happening. Because Mitt Romney has not made a cohesive statement saying, "Yeah, I want to run."
He's raising money.
He's kind of, I know, but he hasn't made a statement. So
He went
what
to
I
the
think-
money
I
store.
think Hatch is kind of going, "This is all still mine until I want to give it back."
Oh my god.
So this is the surrounding the wagons, it's all mine thing.
Oh, okay. Is that your thought?
That's
your
my thought.
theory. Mm-hmm. How
So,
old
yeah.
is he?
My gosh.
Is he 82 or something?
He's 82 or 83, as
Yeah.
I recall. 83.
Well, should have.
Can't tell me what to do. Well, you know what? He's now in the official range, though, where he gets to be a cranky old man if he wants to be. Of course, he's also holding the reins of power here in the state, so.
Yeah. So.
But he gets to do it in a cranky fashion.
She's the one who picked on you.
Oh, he's going to yell at me again the way he always does, and he'll still give you a kiss.
Could get worse. All right. So let me try to save your life, because if you go to Australia.
You know that's my dream, but statistically, a relatively slim portion of our audience will be doing that. But sure, let's go ahead.
I'm going to give you a list of the animals that will kill you in Australia and tell you how to protect yourself.
I have to admit, I have girlfriends in Australia, and they actually take it as a point of pride. As a matter of fact, one of our old producers, Wendy, she moved there with her husband, who was Australian. It is a point of pride. They say, we have more things that can kill you horribly than any other continent in the world.
Let's start with sharks.
Higher concentration of great white sharks on their beaches.
It's a black tip.
I know, but...
What do? Now, we've all heard about punching them in the nose.
Mm-hmm.
And they are really sensitive in the nose. That's good.
I'm just thinking the angle, though, especially if they're coming up from you below, like the speed of a freight train. It's
Right.
hard to go, hey, can you hold still because I have to punch you in the nose.
Punch them in the nose, which is hard for me because I don't like opening my eyes underwater. I guess I would then. But no, your thumb. Take your thumb, jab it in their eyes and in their gills. Put
They
your
have
hand
the-
in there and
they have
start
the
ripping
nicotine-
them. Just get in there.
They have the nicotine membrane in their eye
Yes.
that actually slides over when they're
Yes.
about to attack to protect the eye.
But
So
you
you
got
can
a thumb.
jam it.
Just jam it in their eye.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like that. Are you ready for number 2?
Sure.
Number 2 is a crocodile.
Oh, dear God, there's a crocodile. What do I do now, honey?
All right, now, first of all, you can't pronounce.
Look, it's a crocodile.
Say it's got a hold of your foot.
That's a problem.
You cannot open. You're not going to do it because your foot tastes good, and he's not going to let go of luncheon. So what do? His armor all over him. You can't do that. Where do you go?
Where?
Your thumb, and you put it in his eye.
Yeah, once again.
It's like a one. So it's not hard to. I mean, it's easy to remember. Your thumb goes in their eye. That's all you have to worry about.
Except for the screaming and the blood. Sure, go on.
Dingoes. Dingo got you, baby.
You just been away. You did this whole story so you could say that, didn't you?
What
Don't
do
lie
you
to
do
me.
when a dingo attacks?
This could count as any wild dog that you might encounter anywhere in the world, but go on.
Don't be threatening. Kind of shrink down a little bit.
Really?
Turn your side. Don't run away. There he is. Dingo's got my baby. And so you back away. Don't act threatening. Keep your head down. Do not make eye contact. This is just like with Bill Gephardt. You do not want to make eye contact with Bill. You don't want to. You don't want to do it.
You
All right.
go back away slowly.
Yeah.
Head down in a submissive position like that.
There's no eye
back
poking
away.
with a dingo
No.
or with Bill.
Or with Bill.
Yeah. Snake attack. Snake attack. How do you survive a snake attack? Don't get bitten.
That would seem wise.
Because by the time you get them in the eyes, they already got their fangs in you. And then
Is it
you're
really? Do you
gone.
have anything to say with the snake attack?
No.
Because I almost stepped on that rattler when I was running at night, and that would have been nice to know at that point.
No, there is nothing you can do. They usually bite being defensive, so don't be offensive and be a nice person. Don't step on them.
I didn't know I was stepping on him. It was dark.
I know what you're saying. You're saying, Todd, Erin, I've heard about these defenses. What about kangaroos? Didn't see that coming, did you?
Do kangaroos traditionally attack?
Yeah.
No, they don't. They're adorable.
Some of the aggressive ones, a lot of times they're aggressive is because humans have fed them.
Oh.
And they come at you and they go, what, no food? I'm going to kick you. And they box you. And they lean back on their tails and their back feet come up. And they have claws. And they hit you in the chest and then rip you in half. So what do you do?
So they've got like a Sarah Lee Jones going, and if you don't take care of it, you've got problems.
Yeah.
Okay. Bring cake with you everywhere you go in the Outback?
Once again, turn sideways. Not to protect your goods. Your stomach and your heart.
The internal organs.
And your goods down there. And turn sideways. And do not turn around.
Yeah, because that's where the spine snaps in half.
Do not run away. Slowly creep like this.
Sideways, like a crab.
Like that.
I can't help but feel the show is super relatable today.
It's not going to get any worse. Wait, there is time left.
There's always time for us to get worse. There's always time.
I think
every time you think we've scraped the bottom, there's a whole new layer of awful.
So let's review. Most of these, you stick them in the eye with your thumb.
Except for the ones that are just going to kill you. So.
And no eye contact. I wouldn't put eye contact in with any of these animals.
You know, the true horror of this story is the only one of those animals that's indigenous to the United States would be Bill Gephardt.
This is true.
Now, on the bright side, that does reduce your threat level.
Right.
But on the negative side, we actually work in the den of the beast.
He also has been tranquilized and is wearing a tracking band. So I think we're okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Let's move on. Okay, they call this roughing. This is awful. Explain this.
Sports. Armstrong.
Oh, yeah. Doping.
Wrestlers. Doping. Football players. Doping.
A lot of the Olympic athletes, which is really disappointing.
Doping. Bodybuilders. Doping.
Come on. These are natural. I know they are.
Only women I know have a hair on their chest. So now it is spread. There's something else. They in one of the big races, they actually did their blood testing. Hold it, Mr. Winner. I don't think so, because the doping had taken place. So they took the dogs and they drew the blood, and that's when the doping was found out.
They doped the dogs.
Dogs have been doped,
which is why it's called roughing instead of roofing.
I made that up.
It's adorable, though.
Yeah, thanks. Iditarod, first place drugging. Yeah.
But they're like, look at those dogs, the majestic, beautiful animals. This is like one of the most noble and time-honored of all sports. I mean, it was never even meant to be a competitive. It was just like, wow, these are the dogs that surged through the snowy tundra and took medicine to outlying communities and would run till their brave hearts burst. I mean,
ouch.
Don't you remember Balto, Best Dog Ever? I always used to read that to the boys and cry, and they'd look at me like I was an idiot. But how could you dope these beautiful animals?
To win?
Yeah, but this is like such a noble sport.
So what they're saying is it's basically a pain reliever. So maybe the dogs would push harder or whatever, because the dogs, man, they love to run. My friend has one, and it's like a bat out of hell, and that's all the dog wants to do.
Walking that dog on a leash is a big issue.
Oh my gosh.
You could tie it to a car bumper and it would still move the car.
And if you've ever been on a sled, they just tear. So anyway, the point being, first place son, second place dad. Dad was sticking up for the boy. He says, well, it doesn't make sense you would give this to your dog. And it's like, I trust my son.
Most of the time.
Right?
Wow.
But why would this? Oh, and he goes, someone could have given that to the dog at any moment. when we weren't looking.
Yeah, people were slipping by giving my dog roofies. So you know how that goes.
It's like, hey, you know what we should do? Let's go drug some dogs.
Why would you do that to those beautiful animals? That's so wrong.
I don't know.
I don't care what you do to your own body. I mean, it's your choice, but they're the most noble animals ever. They're like,
Yeah, we've already heard that part.
wow.
Yeah.
I know, but I can't get over it. It's awful.
Talk about your series that you've been working on.
Oh, the spookiest spots along the Wasatch Front.
Yes.
It is brought to you by Brio Technologies. By the way, they do fantastic things with lighting and sound equipment. And by the way, you can rent, you can lease, they can set things up for you. It's beautiful. As a matter of fact, the owner is currently on tour right now with David Archuleta. BrioAudiovisual.com. Yeah,
Well, let's run through it. We got the limestone kiln.
the murderous lime kiln.
And we have that. And then you went to...
And then we had the mystery of the Nilsson Cross, which is this iron cross that's buried in this little gully overlooking the Wasatch Front. And it was interesting. People were asking me on Facebook, did it look like it was a big enough area to have a body buried
It's
there?
on a hill.
Or like an urn or something.
Yeah.
And that weirded me out worse. Then there was...
And we looked it up and we couldn't find any information on him.
I know. Then there was the most gruesome gift to children ever, which was the gigantic, horrifying heart on the Price estate that faces towards Shriners Hospital up in the
little
avenues.
Faces in it. And,
Hands and nails, and that was meant
so-
as a gift for sick children.
And so what
And then-
about today?
And then there was 666,
Oh,
victim of the beast.
on a
the
gravestone
tombstone.
in the city cemetery.
Today's is Gilgal's Garden. Now, if you've ever been down there, it was probably at night and you were a teenager and you got the pants scared off you. And they have done an enormous amount of work since to make this place more beautiful. But it was built by a masonry
Mason,
contractor.
yeah.
Well, back in the early 1900s, and then as he got into older in the 60s, he lost his son in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And it changed the tone of all the sculptures and the things that he was doing, and it became more despairing and more sad. And there's pictures of broken body parts and hands reaching down to bring hearts. And
Well, you can go and actually see it during hours, and it's 7th East and 5th South.
so between 6th
right
and
there.
7th East,
Yeah.
right in the middle of the block. And it's a Pokestop, by the way, if you do Pokemon Go, so you can find it that way. But so I had to walk through yesterday. I went as close to dark as I was comfortable with, and then scampered out. But
All right. You guys have a good
Today's
day.
spooky spot.
Tomorrow we'll put our show back together.
It'll be a lot better.
We'll do, really, because... Okay. Here, watch.
Okay, today's spookiest spots along the Wasatch Front. I've been so excited to introduce you to Gilgal. This was actually built by a masonry artist named Thomas Child. He was a bishop in the LDS ward, and he created this sculpture garden to kind of talk about his beliefs. This one's especially eerie to me because if you see the stepping stones, they actually lead to a tiny entrance in the back where people sometimes say at night they can see creatures coming out. One of the reasons this is interesting to me is, as his son died in the Vietnam War, his sculptures became more and more despairing, and all of the quotes that he had carved in stone became more and more distressing. This is a sphinx with the face of Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith, if you do not know, was the founder of the LDS Church. The interesting thing is that people who come here a lot say that at night you can see the stones rearrange themselves as if the garden is living, as if somehow the soul of Thomas Child entered into his own garden. I have seen things here before that I found exceptionally scary, but fortunately nothing ever moved for me. And when they did, I would just like to believe it's a trick of light. It's beautiful, it's scary, but it is inescapably spooky.